Welcome to the Dynasty 365 show. Guys, I am Stacy Chris. Tonight we have got a full house. We have got Tyler Heil over here in the corner. We've got Bill Mustafa. And then over here in the other corner, we have got the Dynasty deviant himself, Mr. Chris Burns. Guys, tonight it is week one review. We're going to be checking out our rookies and finding out how they did. Did they boom? Did they bust? Let's find out. All right, guys, we made it through week one. I want to know tonight who, or what rather, was your most exciting moment from week one. This is not on the sheet. I am going rogue. I wanted all of our surprise answers. So, Bill, what was the best part of week one for you?
Yeah, Bill.
The first half of Monday Night Football. You wanna know the worst part?
Yeah, what was the worst part?
Tyler was right last week. Josh Allen fucking sucks.
Oh yeah, it was a rough night for Bills fans all over the world, unfortunately. I see Jamie over there in the chat. What is up, Jamie? Guys, thank you for joining us. Guys, if you have any questions or comments, please make sure to throw them on into that chat. We will get to them tonight. Chris, tell me what your favorite part about week one was.
My favorite part of week one, very easy. It is 2 sacks and a grounding on, Justin Herbert to seal the game for my Miami Dolphins, the best team in the AFC, possibly AFC, possibly the NFL.
Very possibly, very possibly. Tyler, what was your favorite part?
Oh, man. My favorite part of Sunday was from 1 p.m. Eastern time to 4 p.m. Eastern time. Just absolutely watching the Browns just beat the shit out of the Cincinnati Bengals. I mean, I'm sorry, Kevin Stefanski owns Zach Taylor. They have beat them 8 out of 10 times that they've played. And just seeing the Jim Schwartz defense. And if you haven't seen it on Twitter, just go look on Twitter, Myles Garrett crossover. I could just sit there and watch that for about 3 hours of Myles Garrett crossing over the Bengals center, spinning around him, and then immediately sacking Joe Burrow. So it was very cathartic. My hopes are way too high, so I'm ready for the Browns to rip my heart out and then just stomp on it repeatedly.
My favorite part was the Green Bay Packers transferring ownership of the Chicago Bears from Aaron Rodgers to Jordan Love. That made my heart happy. And what didn't make my heart happy was me starting Joe Burrow for him to get 3 points, and then me losing in a home league to somebody who drafted Jordan Love in the second round, guys. The second round. I'm not making that up.
He's the Oracle. He's the Oracle, clearly.
Oh, that was painful. Painful for me. All right, guys. So tonight, like I said, we are going to be talking all about our rookies, finding out how they did, all the guys that we've been talking about for months and months and months. First thing we're going to do our rookie booms and our rookie busts. So who came out of nowhere for you this week, Tyler?
I mean, I don't know if I'd call it came out of nowhere since he was my offensive rookie of the year pick. But my boom for the week is Jordan Addison, wide receiver of the Minnesota Vikings. He came out and he looked like exactly who, I think we thought he was, but I know who I thought he was. Just a very good wide receiver that knows how to get open, can catch the ball wherever as long as it's within his reach. And that's what he did. He went out and he caught 4 balls for 61 yards. And I think it was a 33-yard touchdown where he absolutely torched the DB. So that's very exciting. He didn't play as many snaps as KJ Osborne did. So I guess you could call that a little concerning, but they were very close. Osborne only ran 13 more routes than Addison. Addison was targeted on 20% of his routes, where Osborne was targeted on 13.6. So, Osborne's going to be a part of their offense. He's going to run block a lot more. That does not really concern me for Jordan Addison's production. I'm excited for him for the season and for week one, and see if he can keep this up and take home that offensive rookie of the year title.
Yes. I got to tell you, I owe a big apology to the Bucks for that game, because on our pregame show, I said, like, they suck. They're terrible. And they were not. They beat those Vikings. So with that,
Talk shit about Baker Mayfield.
I know. I did. I talked crap about Baker, and he made me rue the day. So quick question for you though. Kirk and his issues with primetime, right? He's playing tomorrow. That means Addison's playing tomorrow. Are you still firing him up?
Yeah. I mean, I am well aware of the Kirk Cousins primetime issues. I still need to play him. I mean, he's going to be a top 36 ranked wide receiver for me. That's a wide receiver 3. I mean, unless you're in a more shallow league. I know I'm in a lot of leagues with 3 wide receivers and 2 flexes. So Addison will be a top 36 ranked wide receiver for me. And I'm going to fire him up as such.
All right, guys, you heard it. Put Addison in your lineups if you haven't already. Chris, who was your boom player this week?
Yeah, my boom player of this week is somebody that you guys probably haven't heard of in like the last 72 hours. Puka Nacua. This guy, his star is like skyrocketing right now. He was targeted 15 times in that opener. He hauled in 10 of those targets for 119 yards. For a team that's desolate without wide receiver, really, like he kind of not only filled in that Cooper Kupp role, but he kind of looked like Cooper Kupp a little bit, getting in and doing his thing. And with Kupp on the IR right now, like he definitely could be aligning himself to be a force with a Kupp out. So I really liked what I saw for him. Also on the pregame show, like a lot of talk was about like Puka, like, yeah, later on in the season, he could ascend and do some things. And I think he popped a little earlier than a lot of us thought. So loved it.
How much fab are you spending on Puka?
How much fab am I spending on Puka? It really, really, really depends on the makeup of my team. If I'm going up there, like I could spend, I'm one of those guys that likes to spend a lot of my fab in the beginning, because I feel like later on in the year, the quality that you're going to get off those wires is not that big. So like for Puka, I'm willing to spend 25% just because I think when a couple of weeks when Cooper Kupp comes back, that he's going to like dim that light a little bit. And I just got to see where he fits in there. And a lot of people were going crazy and blowing their entire budget on him. So, I'm not going to compete with that.
Fair enough. So what happens when Cooper Kupp comes back, whether it's in 3 more weeks or however long it takes him? What does that do to Puka?
Well, I think Puka is just going to have to get what's left over, because, I mean, when Kupp is playing, like he's that dude. But the injuries are a little concerning, so I don't know how long he's going to be that dude. But if he's on the field, I mean, it's his show, and everybody else just gets what's left over. And it really depends on if Stafford's arm can hold up long enough.
There you go. That's a good point. Stafford did look surprisingly good on Sunday. I think much better than any of us expected.
Do we realistically think Cooper Kupp's going to come back?
Ooh.
I really do. Yeah. It is weird, like how the whole injury went like a little bit, and then like then going on IR is kind of mysterious and everything. But I still think I do think he's going to come back. I think just because of that grit that he has, and he just feels like he's got a lot more to prove. I think he's coming back.
Bill, you've been too quiet over there. Is Cooper Kupp coming back?
Yeah, he's going to come back, get traded to the Niners just before the deadline, and help them go win a Super Bowl. That's what I reckon.
That's so dark. That's such a dark prediction for those Rams fans.
Fuck the Rams fans.
So you're not a fan, is what you're saying?
There's Drew.
I don't like the way they did it. It just upsets me still to this day. Draft and build.
Fair enough. All right, Bill, I'm going to stick with you. Talk to me about your bust player. Who was underwhelming for you this week?
I mean, he wasn't necessarily underwhelming for me because I didn't expect much, but I know a lot of people did. Quentin Johnson, the LA Chargers, 22 offensive snaps. He caught 2 of his 3 targets for 9 yards. This was a shootout against the Miami Dolphins. Mike Williams had to leave the game, so this is a perfect opportunity for Quentin Johnson to get in the game and assert himself in that offense and prove that he's not the number 4 wide receiver behind Josh Palmer. Well, he didn't really do that. Josh Palmer outsnapped him. I think it was 22 for Quentin Johnson, 22 offensive snaps, and over 50 for Josh Palmer. So there is a clear gap there between the wide receiver 3 and the wide receiver 4. For me, Quentin Johnson, if you listen to the show, you know that I wasn't a massive fan. You know that Tyler wasn't a massive fan of him coming out. All the reports in camp have been inconsistent hands, and he isn't ready to start. He isn't ready to play. If I had him on one of my teams, I'd be looking to get rid of him. I know people are going to say it's early, but it's very likely you spent a first-round rookie pick on him, likely a late one. So if you are a team that's contending, if you won your championship last year or you were in the playoffs last year, find one of those rebuilding teams. Try and get yourself a veteran wide receiver, maybe even his teammate, someone like Keenan Allen, and a second-round pick. You should still be able to get that value from him from a rebuilding team that, you might be able to convince him, show him some TCU tape or something where he looked semi-good. You might be able to convince him, get that trade done. I don't think you're going to miss him. I don't think this is going to be a Justin Jefferson situation of a guy that's taken late in the first round, struggles early on, and then blooms. Quentin Johnson's just not that guy, and I think he proved it in week 1.
So if you drafted today, where do you think Quentin Johnson would fall at this point after week 1?
I don't think he'd fall massively. Someone would pull the trigger on him just from name value, just because the rookie drafts have recently gone. They know the name. They recognize it from rookie drafts. But I mean, if you're talking about me personally, I'm not drafting him. There's going to be better value everywhere else. Someone's going to take him before I do.
All right. So my bust this week, and this just pains me to say this, was my very favorite Marvin Mims. It was not a good week for him at all. Not really a good week for the Broncos. But I mean, there's a few others I probably could have picked, but he was going to be my flag plant. So I got to cover the good with the bad. And it was really bad this week. So, Judy was inactive, set up perfect for him to have like a great part in this offense. And then Dulcich goes out too, right? So and still nothing. So I don't know what's going on. I mean, there were, I think Bradley Johnson, something like that, had more receptions than Marvin Mims.
He ran 10 routes.
He ran 10 routes, right. So his final stats were 2 receptions on 2 targets for 9 yards. So 2.9 fantasy points if you, in fact, did throw him in your lineup. That's not going to get it done, right? He's tied for 13th overall rookie wide receiver in week 1. Not good. Probably not going to start him this week unless you're super, super desperate. They're playing Washington. They have a better defense than Vegas. I'm not losing hope just yet, but his use in the game was especially disappointing, I thought, given how that they used him in the preseason and kind of got all of our hopes up. And to be fair, with him, Wilson only threw for 177 yards in that game on 34 attempts to 11 different players, including Mims. And honestly, they still look like the Broncos of last year. So let's ride. Cool.
It's Marvin Mims. Is he kin to Denzel Mims?
I hope not. I hope not for his sake. I'm sure Denzel Mims is very nice. He got cut by Detroit, right? Is he still floating around?
I don't know. He was still in the league.
I don't think he's on a roster.
Yeah, I thought because they sent him over. Jets sent him over to Detroit, and then they cut him. I thought that's the last I heard from Denzel.
So he changed his name to Marvin.
He did. Exactly. He just took over. Identity theft is real, Jim. Okay, identity theft is real. Guys, come on. So yeah. Oh wait, who did I interrupt? I interrupted somebody, didn't I?
I actually just wanted to throw out, if you want a little fool's gold here, if I could say that.
Yeah.
Rashee Rice only ran 2 more routes than Marvin Mims. Only 12.
He's the only receiver in Kansas City that can catch, though. And that's only half of the time, but it's still better than the other 2.
Yeah, like his only catch was him standing still wide open in the end zone. I don't know how much that says, but he ran 12 routes.
It's a rough night for a Chiefs fan. Rough night indeed. Oh gosh. All right, guys. So I want to talk a little bit rookie waivers. In case your waivers have not run yet, maybe yours run on Wednesday night. If they have, maybe you can go in and scoop some of these guys up after waivers have gone, if your league did them last night. So Chris, tell me about your waiver pickup rookie style this week.
Okay, so my waiver pickup is going to be Roschon Johnson. He's like owned in about 22% of leagues right now. And so if he's not rostered in yours, I mean, I'd go stash him and really see what materializes. So the interesting thing with the Bears, it still seems like they're not ready to let Justin Fields throw the ball downfield like they like to run it. The snap share for carries was 9, 5, and 5, respectively, between Khalil Herbert, Roschon Johnson, and Dante Foreman. And Johnson, he led the running backs in, targets. He had 7 targets, had 6 catches for 35 yards. He didn't do a whole lot with them, but he got those. Herbert, he had 3 catches for 5 targets for 3 catches, 37 yards. And Dante Foreman, he had 2 catches, for 8 yards. So it looks like Roschon Johnson could be like moving into that role where he's like the pass catching back. And Foreman and Herbert are doing early downs, but Foreman seems to be kind of like getting phased out a little bit. And so he's absolutely worth keeping an eye on just to see how it all plays out. But I mean, I would temper my expectations because I don't think this Bears team is good. I don't trust the coaching, and I honestly don't trust Justin Fields either. So we'll see.
Yeah, I got to tell you, I'm not upset about the Bears not being very good this year as a Packers fan. As a fantasy owner, I'm a little upset because I think I've got Justin Fields in a couple places. But yeah, right there with you. And Jamie in the chat, really excited because Chris, you said Roschon, so
he might be the biggest Roschon stan that I've ever seen. Like it's actually sickening. Jamie's how much he loves Roschon Johnson.
Yeah, Jamie, good looking out.
All right, guys. So here's I love a good deal, and I've got a BOGO for you guys tonight. And this is for my deeper league kids out there. Listen up. I've got 2 guys for you. I've talked about them both a little bit, but they are 1, Demario Douglas, 2, Trey Palmer. So first off, Demario Douglas for the Patriots. He had 4 catches on 7 targets with 40 yards. 5th overall rookie wide receiver in yards this week. He made a catch. I don't know if you guys saw it or not. It was a pretty gross game with all that rain, but he made a catch that set up a touchdown and kept the Pats in that game, really, and even though they did lose. And you're probably like, what about Kayshon Boutte? Well, you know what? He was only targeted 4 times, by the way, and especially there at the end, he had that. If he caught it, it would have helped the Patriots a lot, but he unfortunately didn't get both his feet down. And it may have been Kendrick Bourne's day, right? But Demario Douglas was the number 2 wide receiver. Even though Juju had the same amount of targets, Demario Douglas had more yards. So he's the guy that had really impressed in the preseason. He caught the coaching staff's eye. He caught the veteran players' eye. I think you can expect a lot more from him this season. And he should be somebody that you are targeting if you are in one of those deeper leagues. Bill, you looked really excited about that.
Patriots. I don't like them either.
I agree with you.
Yeah?
100%.
You don't like the Patriots? That's fine.
Yeah, it's the wrong crowd, Stace. It's the wrong crowd. Come on,
okay. I really like Demario Douglas, though. That's fine. I've never been a Patriots fan either. I don't have to like the Patriots, but I do like that player. And I am excited to see what he has, what's in store for him this season. Second guy, real quick, Trey Palmer. Don't know if you guys watched that Bucs Vikings game or not, but if you did, you saw Trey Palmer get a touchdown. He just had 2 receptions for 8 yards, but important thing, like I said, he got in that end zone, and he was one of only 3 rookie wide receivers to have touchdowns this week. We've already talked about both of them, actually, the other 2 guys, in Addison and Rashee Rice. Mike Evans led that team in targets with only 9, right? So not a lot of targets going around at all for the Buccaneers. So I think the fact that Palmer was involved, he was in the end zone, and they threw it to him there, says a lot about for how they're going to use him this year. And he had 8.8 fantasy points, which that's not too bad for a flex spot, right? So Trey Palmer, somebody to keep on your radar. All right, so we're going to move on to rookie start sits. So we're going to pick one rookie, and it can't be Bijan, it can't be Gibbs, because that's too easy. So I want to know who you are starting, who you are sitting this week. Mr. Mustafa, it is your show. Who you got? Who you starting?
Do you guys know who led the NFL in week 1 in target share?
No, but you're going to tell us.
Mr. 1 Zay Flowers. 45.5% target share in that Baltimore Ravens offense. As a rookie, I know there was no Mark Andrews, I know, but there's a good chance Mark Andrews doesn't go this week either. 9 receptions, 78 yards. It's a mediocre day, but if you had a touchdown on there, you're talking big fantasy points. He's up against the Cincinnati Bengals this week, who, Tyler will attest, didn't look great in week 1. He's Browns beat him up. And now they've got to go and play the Baltimore Ravens and a star in the making in Zay Flowers. We've seen and we've spoken about how much of a jitterbug he is, how dangerous he is with the ball in his hands, and how much he can create. I think there's a possibility that he has become certainly the wide receiver one in Baltimore as a rookie, but he might even be, and we'll see when Mark Andrews gets back, this might be Lamar Jackson's new number 1 target, new favorite player to throw the ball to. I'm starting him, and I'm not thinking about it. He's a guy that we loved coming out. I didn't expect him to have the success that he did have in week 1, and I'm not going to be one missing out for week 2.
All right, so I have a question for you then. So with how Zay Flowers performed this week, does that kind of make Rashad Bateman irrelevant at this point?
Rashad Bateman was already irrelevant.
I'm pandering a little bit because I think we've had this conversation before, and Bill, you and I are on the same page with that. I love it. All right, so Tyler, last but not least, tell us who you are sitting this week.
So what I'm going to do first is tell you, just kind of read some of the Dallas Cowboys box score here from last week. They had 2 interceptions, 3 forced fumbles, and they scored a touchdown on defense. The Dallas Cowboys were not the highest ranked, highest graded defense in the NFL, according to PFF last week. That title belongs to the San Francisco 49ers, who absolutely dismantled the Pittsburgh Steelers. And for that reason, I'm not throwing shade on your pickup here, Chris, because I was a big fan of Puka too, but I am sitting Puka Nacua this week.
He's because I called you a brown nose last week, isn't it?
That is precisely why. I personally am avoiding playing as many players as I possibly can against the San Francisco 49ers defense. And if you aren't a star, if you aren't a Justin Jefferson or a Jamar Chase or someone like that, I'm going to do everything I can to avoid playing you in a week that you're playing the San Francisco 49ers. So for that reason, my sit this week is Puka Nacua.
All right. Yeah, that was an ugly game, right, with the Niners. Holy cow.
Oh, yeah.
Poor Steelers. Poor
they
Steelers.
Embarrassed them.
Yeah, big time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Screw them. The Steelers, the Steelers and their fans deserve all of the failure.
Well,
like a true Browns fan.
They've had it too good for too long. Screw them.
Peter, you've got another one to clip. That is at 23:39. Make sure to clip that. That's going out later. All right. Jorge says that he finds your lack of faith in Puka disturbing.
It's just a wealth of faith in the 49ers defense.
Tyler's getting his P45 after this. See you later, mate.
Well,
upset the boss and his star boy.
It's the P45, like the English pink slip.
Oh yeah, shit! I forgot you guys are all Yanks. yeah, you're getting your pink slip.
I thought it was that workout routine. What was it, P90X? That's what
I did too. I thought it was something to do with working out.
Yeah, the half-hour show, 45.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, Tyler, at least Jamie agrees with you there. And Jorge says to tell that to Allen Robinson.
Who?
Yeah, who? Allen Robinson? Who?
I mean, they had to leave someone uncovered, and he still didn't do that well.
Yeah, they felt that Allen Robinson was the safest one to leave uncovered, and they were probably right.
Yeah. That with Deontay Johnson's injury is somehow putting Calvin Austin on waiver wire radars
Who?
too. Yeah, Calvin Austin. I mean, Calvin Austin. Did I say Johnson? I did say Johnson. Whatever.
No, you said Calvin Austin.
Listen,
Is he kin to Tavon Austin?
Yeah. No, is he? I don't know. Somebody look that up. Is he related
Calvin
to Tavon
Austin was good coming out of Memphis. All right.
Yeah,
You calm
I don't mind
down.
Calvin Austin.
Ryan Leaf
Calvin
was
Austin's
good coming
alright.
out of college also.
Ryan Leaf had addiction problems. I don't think Calvin Austin does.
I mean,
You don't know though. You don't know that he doesn't.
That's
You
true.
don't know.
We don't know. We don't know. We don't. Yeah.
Yeah, he hasn't been he hasn't been suspended for PEDs like Jake Hayner yet.
Not
Yeah.
yet.
I mean,
We
should have known. We should have known that Hayner was doing stuff just because, like, who's sober taking those pictures?
That's fair. I mean, those pictures were phenomenal, though. Like those pictures will live in. That'll be his legacy, I think, as a Saint.
He'll be signing copies of those pictures for a long time.
Oh, he should. I would do that.
A lot longer than he's in the NFL. I can almost.
Yes. Yes. Thank you, Tyler. If you guys are listening, Tyler has posted behind him as his screen a montage of the Jake Hayner photo shoot. Which, if you haven't seen it yet, please do yourself a favor and go Google that. It's amazing.
Oh, they're brilliant.
All right, guys. So on that note, guys, it is going to be a short show for us this week, as it is. Oh, wait! Just kidding. I was about to do our closing, but we got a question here in the chat. I'm gonna throw that up here. So TS wants to know he needs one flex in a full PPR, whether it is Mostert, Scary Terry, Swift, Addison, or Puka. Bill, I'm going to start with you. Who's your flex?
Jordan Addison. I think Raheem Mostert's questionable. Tyler's already told us why we should sit Puka Nacua. DeAndre Swift, no. So between Scary Terry and Jordan Addison, but I've got a feeling that the Vikings are going to have to throw the ball because they certainly ain't running it on that Eagles defensive line. So I think Addison could be in for some work.
Yeah, I tend to agree with you there. Tyler, what do you think?
Mostert, I don't like playing a lot of people against the Patriots. I don't feel great about this week. I don't feel great about Sam Howell as a person. No, I mean as a quarterback. I'm just kidding.
Lander.
Puka, I already said I'd sit him, so it's between DeAndre Swift and Jordan Addison for me. I am actually going to go DeAndre Swift. I know it's Thursday night. I know it's a weird game, but the Vikings defense is not all that impressive, and Kenneth Gainwell has already been ruled out, and Rashad Penny was a healthy scratch last week. So I think Swift is going to get a lot of volume.
Rashad Penny's got 100 yards and 2 touchdowns.
Oh, or Boston Scott, one of the two. Yeah.
No, Boston Scott only scores against the Giants. That's the only team he plays well against. The only reason they roster him. Twice a year.
Chris, final thoughts?
I pretty much agree with, what the guys have said. Like, I'm not playing Mostert, like he's banged up right now. And as much as Josh McDaniels likes to tell us that he wants to run the ball more, he just doesn't. And so it really does come down to Terry McLaurin and Addison. And I'm leaning more Addison. I love Howell as a player and as a person. But I'm just going to go with Addison just because McLaurin, I don't know how he's dealing with that toe. So Addison for me.
Yeah, I am with you there. So TS, I hope that answers your question. I hope we all look like geniuses tomorrow night after Jordan Addison goes off for 2 touchdowns and, a handful of yards. That'd be wonderful. Everybody else, thank you so much for joining us tonight. Thank you, everybody who's in the chat, everybody watching online. Guys, remember to please go and hit that subscribe button on the YouTube. That would be awesome. Guys, you can find all of us online. You can find me at Stacy_Perez83. Tyler is at FF Tyler Hile. Dynasty Deviant. You see his name down there at Dynasty Deviant. And then you can find Bill over at Bill_Mustafa. Guys, make sure that you are tuning in tomorrow. We have a great mailbag episode on for you. That's going to be answering all your questions. So make sure to send those on in. Any start sits you've got, anything else fantasy related or not fantasy related, send that in too. Who knows? It could be a pretty crazy show.
You're gonna get some wild shit now, Stacey.
Let's go.
Run for your back there, girl.
Let's do it.
You're gonna get some mad shit through the post.
I can't wait. Let's go. Guys, Fourth and Frames is going to be up right after us tonight at 9. And guys, we're doing pregame show now, Fantasy and Frames pregame show on Sunday mornings from 9 to noon, answering all your questions about what's going to happen later in the day. So make sure you are tuning into that. And we'll be back next week with more Dynasty talk for you. Have a good night, everybody.